Good day, learners. Our subject for today is Science 5 for Quarter 4, Week 3 and 4. And our topic is Weather Disturbances. For the most essential learning competency, characterize weather disturbances in the Philippines and describe their effects to daily life. You have learned in the previous lesson when rocks are broken down into pieces, it does not stay in one place. Some rock fragments become part of the soil. Others are transferred from one place to another, which is called erosion. Materials that are transported due to erosion are called sediments. Erosion of rock fragments contributes to the soil formation as well as formation of landforms. Soil erosion does not only shape Earth's landforms, it also affects the ecosystem, especially if it happens unexpectedly. This time, you will learn about the weather disturbances. The Philippines experiences an average of 20 typhoons a year. The biggest contributor of the weather disturbances in our country is the Pacific Ocean, which lies on the eastern part of the country. The typhoon is just one of the many weather disturbances we experience. Look at the sky. Can you tell what the weather is? Weather is the condition of the atmosphere at a short period of time. The different factors that affect weather include air temperature, air pressure, humidity, clouds, precipitation, and wind speed and direction. When these factors change and affect the condition of the atmosphere, weather disturbances occur. Weather disturbances refers to any disruption of the atmosphere's stable condition. It can manifest through the formation of low pressure or of different prevailing winds like monsoon and the Intertropical Convergence Zone or the ITZZ. Now, what is low pressure area and high pressure area? This refers to the weight of air that is pressing down on Earth. An abrupt change in air pressure can trigger weather disturbances. When cold air sinks, it results to high pressure area. Since most of the air is pressing down, the air on the surface becomes dry. But when air rises, less air presses downward, resulting to the formation of low pressure area. An LPA or low pressure area can result to weather disturbances such as rains and strong winds. In a cyclone, the cool air flows to take the place of the rising warm air. As a result, the air current spins. The wind spirals around the center of the cyclone, and this center is called the eye. When a cyclone is formed over the tropics, it is called a tropical cyclone. Tropical cyclones that occur within the Philippine Area of Responsibility or the PAR develop into areas. These areas are in the Pacific Ocean and in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or the PAGASA, keeps track of the cyclones that enter the PAR, or the Philippine Area of Responsibility. There are classifications of cyclone according to strength of wind. First, we have the tropical disturbance. It is an isolated weather system with an apparent circulation. It is characterized by a poorly developed wind circulation. This is commonly observed throughout the wet tropics and subtropics. Another classification is the tropical depression. It is a weak, low pressure disturbance with a definite surface circulation. A tropical depression has a maximum wind speed of up to 61 kilometers per hour or the kph. It is most common in the equatorial region or the intertropical convergence zone or the ITCZ. Another classification of cyclone is the tropical storm. Once a tropical depression has intensified, it becomes a tropical storm. A tropical storm is a moderate tropical cyclone with maximum wind speed of 62 to 88 kilometers per hour. It is more organized and more circular in shape. The rotation of tropical storm is more recognizable than that of a tropical. Another one is the typhoon. Typhoon is an intense weather disturbance having more or less a circular shape and with an average size of about 500 kilometers in diameter. The wind blows toward the center, called the eye. Tropical cyclones are identified based on the speed of circulating winds. If the speed of the wind is 60 km per hour or less, it is known as depression. But if the speed becomes 60 to 118, it is known as storm. And if the speed is more than 118, it is called a typhoon. Now, here are the changes of weather before, during, and after a typhoon. So let us first have before the typhoon. Before a typhoon occurs, high clouds are observed in the sky. The air is dry and cold since most of the warm air has already risen. The relative humidity is high. The wind blows gently and scattered rain showers may occur. And during the typhoon, the sky is dark and cloudy. Heavy rainfall accompanied by strong winds occurs. Big waves are also observed near the coast. When these waves become unusually high due to abnormally high ocean tides, a storm surge occurs. Flash floods may also occur due to heavy rainfall. Landslides may be triggered by flash floods and heavy rains. Some trees and crops may be uprooted of strong winds. Another changes is after the typhoon. After a typhoon, the sun becomes visible and the sky becomes clearer. There might be a scattered rain showers. Rescue and relief operations are also ongoing. There might be an outbreak of waterborne diseases like influenza and dengue. Some areas may still be flooded and recovering from typhoon. If a certain place is severely devastated, many residents are staying in the evacuation area. This time, let us discuss Public Storm Warning Signal or the PSWS. For the PSWS number 1, wind moving at a speed of 30 to 60 km per hour may be expected in at least 36 hours or irregular rains may be expected within 36 hours. When the tropical cyclone develops, very close to the locality, a shorter lead time of the occurrence of the winds will be specified in the warning bulletin. Unless this warning signal is upgraded during the entire existence of the tropical cyclone, only very light or no damage at all may be sustained by the exposed communities. Another public storm warning signal is PSWS number 2. Wind moving at a speed of 61 to 120 km per hour and may be expected in at least 24 hours. In general, the wind may bring light to moderate damage to the affected communities. Another is the PSWS number 3. The wind moves at a speed of 121 to 170 kilometers per hour may be expected at least 18 hours. In general, moderate to heavy damage may be experienced particularly in the agricultural and industrial sectors. Another is we have the PSWS number 4. Winds moving at a speed of 171 to 220 kilometers per hour may be expected in at least 12 hours. With PSWS number 2, the locality is very likely to hit directly by the eye of the typhoon. As the eye of the typhoon approaches, the weather will continuously worsen with the winds increasing to its strongest coming generally from the north. Then we have the PSWS number 5. Winds moving at a speed of 220 kilometers per hour or above may be expected in at least 12 hours. Winds would bring widespread damage to high risk structures. And for that, let us answer Learning Task 1. Prepare the materials listed below. If not available, you may use other materials at home to perform the activity. You may ask the help of your parents or guardians or any adult members of the family if needed. The title of the activity is Be Ready. Materials, ballpen and bond paper. And procedures. First, conduct a simple interview with the members of your family about their observations on the changes of weather before, during, and after a typhoon. Number 2, record the responses in the table. So the table has 3 columns. First, changes of the weather before a typhoon. Second column, changes of weather during a typhoon. And the last, changes of weather after a typhoon. Then, right after, you are about to answer questions. First, based on the interview that you have conducted, what are the common observations of your family members on the changes of weather before, during, and after the typhoon? Number 2 questions. How can you compare the changes of weather before, during, and after the typhoon? Now, for learning task number 2, list down the effects of wind during the different public storm warning signal. So we have 2 columns. Public storm warning signals 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And effects of wind. Now, let us answer learning task number 2. And here are my sample answers for learning task number 2. For public storm warning signal number 1, the effects of wind, twigs and branches of small trees may be broken. Some houses of very light materials like nipa and kugon may be partially unroofed. Rice crop, however, may suffer significant damage when it is in its flowering stage. For public storm warning signal number 2, the effects of wind, some coconut trees may be tilted with few others broken. Few big trees may be uprooted. Many banana plants may be downed. Rice and corn may be adversely affected. Some old galvanized iron roofings may be filled up. And for public storm warning signal number 3, many coconut trees may be broken or destroyed. Almost all banana plants may be downed, and a large number of trees may be uprooted. There may be widespread disruption of electrical power and communication services, including the internet. And for public storm warning signal number 4, the effects of wind, coconut plantation may suffer extensive damage. Many large trees may be uprooted. Rice and corn plantation may suffer severe losses. Most residential and institutional buildings of mixed construction may be severely damaged. Electrical power distribution and communication services, including the internet, may be severely disrupted. And for public storm warning signal number 5, the effects of wind, widespread damage to high-risk structures, complete failure of many residences and industrial buildings, electrical power distribution and communication services severely disrupted. For learning task number 3, analyze each statement. Draw a heart eyes emoji if it is true and wow emoji if it is false. For number 1, public storm signal number 1 is characterized by winds moving at a speed of 220 km per hour or above may be expected in at least 12 hours. Winds would bring widespread damage to high-risk structures. Number 2, after a typhoon occurred, high clouds are observed in the sky. Number 3, public storm signal number 3 is characterized by winds moving at a speed of 121 to 170 km per hour may, may be expected at least 18 hours. In general, moderate to heavy damage may be experienced particularly in the agricultural and industrial sectors. Number 4, tropical disturbance is a weak low pressure disturbance with a definite surface circulation. And number 5, tropical depression is an intense weather disturbance having more or less a circular shape and with an average size of about 500 kilometers in diameter. Let us now answer learning task 3. So for number 1, is your answer wow emoji? Then you are correct. Number 2, is your answer wow emoji? Then you are correct. Number 3, is your answer heart eyes emoji? Then you are correct. Number 4, if your answer is wow emoji, then you are correct. And number 5, is your answer wow emoji? Then you are correct. Let's move on to learning task number 4. Use a Venn diagram to compare and contrast the effects of the changes of the weather before, during, and after a typhoon in the community. Okay, so let us answer learning task number 4. And here is my sample answers. So for the similarity, storm signal will be declared. For before, dark clouds are observed in the sky, air is dry and cold, and relative humidity is high. For during, the sky is dark and cloudy, and heavy rainfall and strong wind is being experienced. And for the after, the sun shines and visible, and the sky becomes clearer. For learning task 5, inside the column, analyze the following statements that describes the changes of the weather before, during, and after the typhoon. Put a check mark on the column that corresponds the condition of each statement. For statement number 1, some areas may be flooded. Number 2, there is a heavy rain accompanied by strong wind. Number 3, sun becomes visible and the sky becomes clearer. Number 4, the sky is dark and cloudy. Number 5, the clouds are high. Number 6, some areas may still be flooded. Number 7, flash floods may occur due to heavy rainfall. Number 8, the relative humidity is high. Number 9, big waves can be observed near the coast. And number 10, there is an occurrence of scattered rain. Now, let us answer learning task 5. So for the first statement, some areas may be flooded. So it is being experienced during typhoon. Number 2, there is a heavy rain accompanied by strong winds during typhoon. Number 3, sun becomes visible and the sky becomes clearer after the typhoon. Number 4, the sky is dark and cloudy during typhoon. Number 5, the clouds are high before typhoon. Number 6, some areas may still be flooded after typhoon. Number 7, flash floods may occur due to heavy rainfall during typhoon. Number 8, the relative humidity is high. The answer is before typhoon. And number 9, the answer is during typhoon. And the last one, there is an occurrence of scattered rain before typhoon. Just remember that there are classification of cyclone according to strength of wind. So we have tropical disturbance. It is an isolated weather system with an apparent circulation. Tropical depression. It is a weak low pressure disturbance with a definite surface circulation. And tropical storm. Once a tropical depression has intensified, it becomes a tropical storm. And the last is typhoon. It is an intense weather disturbance with an average size of about 500 kilometers in diameter. For learning task number 6, matching type, match the column or the definition in column A with the concept in column B. Write the letter of your answer on the space provided before each number. For column A, we have number 1. It is a moderate tropical cyclone with maximum wind speed of 62 to 88 km per hour. Number 2. It is characterized by winds moving at a speed of 61 to 120 km per hour, may be expected in at least 24 hours. Number 3, it can result to weather disturbances such as rains and strong winds. Number 3 or 4, it is a weather condition being observed after a typhoon. And number 5, it is a government agency that keep track of cyclones that enter the PAR or the Philippine area of responsibility. For column B, we have letter A, tropical depression. Number 2, or letter B, PSWS number 2. Letter C, LPA or the low pressure area. Letter D, tropical storm. Letter E, pag-asa. And letter F, the sun becomes visible. Let us now answer learning task number 6. For number 1, is your answer letter D, tropical storm? Then you are correct. For number 2, is your answer letter B, PSWS number 2? Then you are correct. Number 3, is your answer letter C, LPA or low pressure area? Then you are correct. Number 4, is your answer letter F, the sun becomes visible? Then you are correct. And number 5, letter E, pag-asa? Then you are correct. And that concludes our discussion about weather disturbances. I hope you learned a lot from today's lesson. Thank you very much and God bless everyone.